G'day everybody and welcome back to 101 Week. Today we're going to be taking a quick look at welding symbols and how to interpret a welding diagram. Okay, so let us start off with our diagram of our weld. There's three different main parts of a welding diagram. We have the arrow, which will point to the join, either on the weld side or the other side. We'll have our reference line, and all of our information will be placed on the reference line in reference to the weld. And then at the tail, and I haven't actually run into this at all, we have all of our extra information, for instance, what sort of weld we're going to be doing, whether or not you're going to be doing TIG welding, MIG welding, and what sort of electrode you might be using, what sort of filler wire you might be using. All of that sort of stuff will be put in the tail. To start off with, we have a fillet weld, which is always drawn as a little triangle that looks something like this. The reference line directly references which side the weld goes on our joint. We need to know whether or not this is going to be on the arrow side or the other side. We could have the arrow over here, we could have the arrow on the other side. On these, the top is always the other side, and the bottom is always the arrow side. So if we were to actually label these properly, it would look like this. Just like that. Other side, arrow side. Now there's a lot of information that you can also get with these symbols. For instance, the size of the weld. In this case, let's say we want a 6mm fillet, so that 6 would go here. Or if we're going to do it on this side, it would go over here. Next we have the length. So we want this to go the full length, and let's say this was a 50mm plate. So it would have 50mm here. If, for instance, we wanted to have as a top-down view of our weld, looking something like this, we might only want a little bit of a weld here and then another little bit of a weld here. In which case, we might say, where can I put my arrow that you'll be able to see it? So once again, we want to have our 6mm fillet, and we'll say it goes 10mm, then has a break from center to center of 40mm, and then we'll put a dash in between. So that's 10mm long and then 40mm apart. That's kind of all the common stuff. The other things that you might see is you might see a fillet weld done all the way around. And this is drawn this way. So say you have some tubing, and the fillet weld is done on the inside or on the other side of the arrow, and it's welded all the way around on the inside, in which case you'll have a little symbol like that. That means it's done all the way around. However, you may also have two arrows, which means that it is done all the way around on the inside as well as the outside, and it'll look something like that. And the other thing that you might see most often is probably one with a little flag on it, like this. And this means that it needs to be welded on site. So that means that it can't be welded up in the workshop, so it will be taken out to site to be welded. And I think that pretty much does it for a quick broad overview of welding symbols and interpreting welding drawings. This didn't go into any of the other types of welds that are also very common, like groove welds, butt welds, all the rest of it. And that's just because I only wanted to give a brief overview of the entire thing, because this is the sort of thing that you'll see most often. Basically, that fillet symbol can be switched out into a myriad of other different symbols, and there's also a lot more information that can be provided, such as multiple pass welds, where you will have multiple reference lines and stuff like that. It gets very, very busy on a design and a plan very quickly, but this is the basics, and this will actually get you pretty far into interpreting technical drawings and welding symbols. So I hope this helps, and I'll catch you all in the next episode. In the meantime, do remember to stay safe, happy crafting, and as always, cheers.